Hi everyone, it's Croft here, and I've got a very short video for you on negotiating the scope of projects. Just a few quick points. The first one is, obviously you know about the iron triangle. You've got cost, quality and time. All projects have a budget, a time limit and some sort of specification. And all three of those are negotiable. It's not just about the money. You can negotiate the spec and you can negotiate the time scale. And even a 10% change in one of those can double the profit. Or if it's a 10% change for the worst, you can lose all the profit you're going to make from doing a project. So if you can manage to negotiate, instead of 80,000, if you can manage to get 88,000, you could be doubling your profit. And if you come down from 80 to, 72, let's say, that could be all your profit gone. So we really want to make sure we negotiate well at the start of a project. And the first thing I would say about that is always trade. So if they ask for something that's a little bit difficult, you can say, we can do it if. We can give you that spec if we can have a bit longer. Or we can do that spec if you pay this much. And similarly, if they're asking for all these three and it's going to be really difficult, you can say, we can't give you that spec unless you give us longer. Or we can't give you that spec unless you pay more. Or we can't give you that price unless we reduce the quality a bit. So you can probably sneak 10% from one of these by linking them together like that. And this takes me to my next point, which is opening first. Ideally, you don't want to open first. You want to get the customer to tell you what they want, when they want it, and also how much they're prepared to spend. So they'll probably say to you, this is what we want, what will it cost? And you want to say, well, how much money have you got? But it's difficult to do that without it looking obvious. So my tip would be to say, we can give you a range of different levels of specification. It depends how much you can afford. How much can you afford? So you're saying to them, quote me a price, and then I'll tell you the quality we can give you for that. So you're getting them to open first on the price. Or similarly, if they say, when can we have it? You could say, well, it depends on what you want. So tell us all about what you want first, and then we can quote you that. So by moving around the triangle, you can get them to open first on at least two of these. And ideally, we want to find out what their budget is. They're probably going to tell us the timescale and the spec, but the key is to find out their budget. And the best way is to say, well, if you give us an idea of the budget, we can then quote you what we can do for that. So trying to avoid opening first if you can possibly do it. And then my final thought is just to say that negotiating at the start is really important, because you've got a certain amount of power before you start the project, because you can always say, we don't want to do this project. But you've also got lots of power when there are changes that are happening during the project. So when they inevitably ask for something to be added to the spec or some change to either the budget or the time, that's your chance to do some more negotiating and say, well, we can only change the time if you pay more, or if we can only change the time if you reduce the spec, or if you want to increase the spec, then we'll have to charge you more and we'll have to take longer. So you've got a lot of power during. The time to look out for is at the end, because quite often they try to sneak one more thing quite near the end. Oh, can you just add this in? Can you just change this? And that's when you need to say, well, we'd love to do it and we think it's a great idea, but it will cost a little bit extra, only a small amount. And you've got the power, because you don't have to make these changes during or at the end. You can just say, no, that's not what we agreed at the start. So you've got the power. So you should be negotiating all the way through your project. Anyway, if you want to know more about negotiating and a whole load of other things, please do follow me on LinkedIn. Just go to LinkedIn, put Chris Croft in and follow me on there. And that would be great. You can send me messages, you can ask me questions. I always reply. So I hope that's been useful. Hope you're enjoying your conference. Goodbye for now.